Netflix, obviously, they have all this access to big data about what people are watching
Right.
and what are the famous titles and what's the most popular one, things like that. But they employed an anthropologist, and they made this person sit with some Netflix users, right, some watchers, and see what exactly, who are these people, who do they watch the movie with, what do they eat when they watch Netflix. See, some different, adding some more context to the user.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host, Rahul, and today you folks are in for a treat again. We've got an artificial intelligence expert with us today on the show. Before that, let's just introduce you to what Engati really is. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 30,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, Tech World, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Priyanka Roy is the head of data and artificial intelligence at Intergen. She's passionate about solving business problems with technology. In her 15 years of international experience across India, Germany, USA, and New Zealand, she has helped businesses make better decisions and improve performance by unleashing the power of their data through business intelligence and analytics. Along the way, she has led, built, and mentored teams of design and delivered data and AI solution. So, welcome to the show, Priyanka. Such an honor to have you on board.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for the introduction. It's Friday evening here, so everything sounds a bit like too much. Hope I make sense.
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right, so jumping straight into the first question, Priyanka, what should companies consider when implementing any new kind of technology?
Yeah, so when companies think about a new technology, I think they should spend more time on the problem that they're trying to solve rather than what this technology can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is people suddenly start talking about, let's say you go to a meeting and people jump straight to a technology solution sometime and say, okay, this thing is going to solve everything that you really wanted to solve.
Right.
But sometimes people are very removed from the problem. So there's a very nice quote that I read somewhere. It says, fall in love with the business problem, fall in love with the problem and not the solution.
Right.
So spend as much time as you can with the problem, with the users, the customers, and try and understand what exactly is it that's annoying them, what's the pain, and then bring in the technology. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's very important for us to because what happens is we get into the nitty gritty of the solution part of things, but we really ignore what the problem is. And then
Yes.
that doesn't give an optimization, optimal solution for the thing. And very intelligently put point across. So moving on across to the second question, and I think this is very important for businesses and business owners to know, because AI is so much into the talks. What, according to you, are the 5 key elements to consider while building AI strategy, and which element affects your decision on the technological front?
Yeah, so I'll just reframe the question slightly. What I'll say is, what sort of things do customers need to think about when thinking about a data and AI strategy? Just because without data, I don't think there's an AI strategy, right?
Right.
So you need data. So so the first thing that customers or companies or organizations need to understand is, what is their vision? So what exactly are they wanting to do? Where do they want to head out to in the future, right? So once that is crystallized, the next part would be the people, right? So the people, let's say, people need to understand that data and AI culture needs to be brought into the organization. People need to start thinking about making data-driven decisions, not gut-based. Not I think this is right, or maybe this is right. It needs to be, oh, it's definitely right. I can see it. This is what the data is telling me. So and that culture needs to happen right from the top. Right from the leadership. people at the top in strategic positions need to understand that they are the ones who can champion the cause of data. They can lead the way, and once they are confident with this, they can bring in a workforce of specialists and experts who know these concepts and can make the organization grow that way. So that was the vision, then the people. Then, of course, to make any decision, we were talking about data, so you need the data. Now, in my experience, I've seen that people just start from the bottom up when it comes to data, right? So the thing is, people need to understand is you need to start with the question. What question are you wanting to answer? So a question could be, how many people walk into a store at this point? Or what is my most selling product? What do people love the most? Okay, so that's a question. So to feed that question, what are the data elements that need to be found out from different systems in the systems that are sitting in the organization, rather than, oh, let's build a report, right? So that's your key performance questions, and then find your key performance indicators, and then look out for the data sets that feed that. So I've spoken about vision, people. I've spoken about data. And then you need a platform to do all this, right? So you need to find, let's say, a cloud-based platform. It could be, I work mostly with Microsoft technology, so let's say Azure-based, Azure Cloud. It has a huge set of data and AI platforms that you could use to start your data journey, data and AI journey. And then you need a governance framework. You need to have people who can who understand data. They take care of the data. They ensure the quality is maintained. Because if you think about it, there's nothing worse than reporting on false information, right? So people need to be able to trust it. And last but not least, I'd say, don't sit on the strategy. Take action, right? It's very easy to make a strategy, make a plan, and then not do anything with it. So take action.
Absolutely, and I really love how how it's different layers at the end, but it all ties down, and it actually has one motive towards it. And you've explained those sections really well. So thank you for that. Moving on to the next question that I have for you what role does data governance play while building your AI strategy?
Okay, yeah. So data governance, I mean, the whole world, the word governance, sometimes it bores people. Okay, it's like, oh, what is this? More governance on this? But if you think about it, it's a really important piece. It's slightly dry when it comes to the topic. I mean, this, right? But what it does is, once you've got a data and AI platform and got an initiative running in an organization, someone within the business, within the organization, needs to take care of it, needs to take ownership and accountability for all these data items or sources that sit. So it could be a product data, your customer data, supplier data, any kind of data, right? Who is accountable within the business to keep it recent, keep it to quality, keep it secure, ensures that all regulatory measures are being applied to it. So that's why data governance is important. That way, people who use the data and the reports and to make decision making, to do the decision making, they can rely on it hand to heart and say, okay, what I'm reporting on and what I'm basing this decision on is correct. And you can see from how important it is right now when we are in this pandemic. Every world leader is talking about is usually having a report which talks about the number of cases and where it is and where the cluster is spreading, and it's all data based, right? It's incredible to see how everyone is touched by it. Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely true. And I think numbers don't lie at the end of it all. And that complements the answer. Okay. So this is a very interesting question as to, and especially for me, I'm very curious about this, is what approaches can be taken by businesses to enter into the conversational AI space, and how can they be leveraged for delivering better customer experiences? Because uh, you know even if so, I know that the pandemic has caused a lot of compelled a lot of companies into this sector, but there's still some kind of doubt in traditional companies as to adopting something like an AI conversational AI space, in that sector. So what are certain approaches that they can take for that to leap jump into that kind of area?
Yeah, I encounter such conversations quite often where I see some people quite hesitant in adopting a new piece of
Yeah.
cool tech. Yeah, and I think it all comes from a certain amount of fear, maybe not knowing what it does. So conversational AI, and I know Engati, you guys do a lot of that. So so I mean, first of all, what is conversational AI, right? So conversational AI is all about making a system friendly. How do you make a system friendly enough for the end user so that they want to interact with it, they want to speak to it, talk to it, just like I'm talking to you right now. Yeah.
Right.
um, Now, so when I think of conversational AI, the first thing that comes to mind is the bots. So the bots which most of us are now seeing on most platforms. Now you'll see different levels of maturity of bots. Some bots are just information bots, FAQ bots, and they just give you an information that you've asked them, and they spit out the answer. But what if a bot knew more about you, more about who Rahul is and what he likes to do and what he likes to eat and things like that? Um, so that's the maturity that these conversational AI platforms would follow. And the more mature they get, the more richer the customer experience will become. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so I always make this joke when I do these interviews that a lot of times, when you go onto these chatbots, and you're typing your query, they're like, hey, user 5xyz5, like you're typing a wrong query, it's your fault. So yeah, I mean, I think we at Engati also, like, we believe that the more human the journey is, the better it is. And
Yeah.
that's why we kind of come up with things like NLP and the sentimental analysis, wherein what the person is talking about and you give it a more human approach of things. So
Yeah.
absolutely agree, and especially in times like this, wherein there is less of human intervention, what customers really need right now is that human touch, and not some robotic nosy Terminator robot trying to like kill you.
Correct.
So I think, yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
You know what? I recently did a course on design thinking,
Mhm.
and I mean, most of the time spent there was on the end user, right? Understanding who the end user is, what are they doing, what is their problem, how do you uncover these latent needs that people have. Uh, that was really good to understand. So when I'm talking to you about a problem, maybe I'm not telling you everything, but my body language might say something else. So how do you capture that?
Right.
And that's where technology can help. Once you understand that, you could inform the technology in such a way that it has these wow moments that then gives you a delight when using a piece of technology. Yeah.
Absolutely. How does something like thick data affect the customer experience, and how can we fine tune it? And also, can these predictive models be used to further enhance CX as a whole?
Yeah, so when I first came across the word thick data, this was about 2 years ago, I was like, what is this? And so, for the benefit of the listeners, I think I need to define what it is. So, thick data is basically anything that humanizes a data point, right? So, adds a little more context around why what this data point means. So the what, the why, the who, the how, the things like that, because often the data is just a number, right? So So when I was reading about thick data, this was about a couple of years ago, I came across an interesting article uh, on Netflix, that how thick data changed Netflix. And what I got to know is that Netflix, obviously, they have all this access to big data about what people are watching
Right.
and what are the famous titles and what's the most popular one, and things like that. But they employed an anthropologist, and uh, they made this person sit with some Netflix users, right, some watchers, and see what exactly, who are these people, who do they watch the movie with, what do they eat when they watch Netflix, see, some different, adding some more context to the user. And what this guy came up with was that people love to watch title after title, so a chat. Yeah, that's the binge watching that
Binge watching.
famous. So that wasn't a thing before, right? So how did he find this out? It was only through sitting with the users and understanding, okay, this is what you really like, so let me release everything all at once. um, of course, if you I mean, binge watching. I'm not recommending that, but it's another way of how people watch Netflix, right? Now think of it. Let's move to a healthier example, maybe. Now it's usually at 4 o'clock. People, if you're working in the office or at home, 4 o'clock, you have this energy slump, and you don't really you reach out for the piece of chocolate or a bag of chips or whatever's near in front of you. But imagine if your device, your Fitbit or your Apple Watch or whatever you're wearing, what if it was able to nudge you to a better behavior, saying, "Hey, Priyanka, there's an apple there. You may want to have it." Just 15 minutes before the slump hits, right? So again, that's all, and big data coming together to make life easier for me and to make me take a healthier choice. Again, so customer experience getting better. Yeah.
Right, right, and I think these technologies are becoming smarter by the day, and moving forward also post the pandemic, wherein the world is going to be really different. These are certain technologies that will be very very active and very very helpful also. So yeah,
That's
great
correct.
points on the Netflix watching and Saturday, I mean Friday afternoon snacks.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
try to bring as many relevant examples to the table. Otherwise, what happens is people often think that data, AI, all this is
exactly.
for not for them, whereas everyone is impacted by it.
Exactly. It's your story. I mean, that's why we really appreciate when, people like you, they bring in real life, grounded examples. That's when people connect to it and they realize that, oh, this is my life. That's
Exactly.
exactly. That's great points. All right. So I think the conversation was great, Priyanka. So many fresh ideas and your insights been great. Any last soundbite or idea you'd like to leave our users with?
I'd say, first of all, never stop learning, because you can't learn enough. There's always something to learn about. It could be a new piece of tech. It could be something about how to have this growth mindset where you're constantly learning and changing things and bringing innovation to the table. And then don't think too much. Just get started. Something I try and apply to myself as well. Otherwise, it's very easy to just keep thinking and thinking and thinking. And you just need to take the first step, and then things become easy.
Wow, that's a wonderful message and a very simple one too. It's just about taking action,
Yeah.
and yeah, and that's really relevant too. Well, thank you so much, Priyanka, for giving us your time. Your insights were really valuable, and I know our audience is really going to enjoy watching this interview.
Thanks, Rahul, and thanks for the opportunity. Loved it.
Really appreciate that. And to the audience, we've got something special coming up on the 25th. That's a Tuesday. There's a webinar, special webinar that we have, arranged. It's about WhatsApp chatbot and digital transformation. So you get to learn how to build your own WhatsApp chatbot and also learn about digital transformation from a global expert. His name is David Avrin. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you.